How to use Audacity interface and edit effectively. The Audacity interface may look confusing if you do not have experience with any editing software. Trust me, Audacity has the most straightforward interface of any audio editing software. Using it several times will make sense of all the buttons you see. This whole thing is called a track, and we only have a single track. The track has an information panel at the beginning and a timeline with a waveform. The numbers you see above the timeline are seconds. If you click the number, the audio will start playing from that second.
There are a couple of other softwares which is free, but Audacity is the.
You can also play audio from inside the track. Click at the point from where you want to play the audio and press spacebar. You can also use the play button.
For audio editing and recording.
To stop the playing audio, press the spacebar again. In the speaking parts of the audio, the waveform is clearly visible. On the silent parts, the line looks flat. Though the line looks flat here, there is some white background noise. If I play the audio, you can see the noise level in the meter. You may hear the noise if you are listening in a quiet environment with headphones. You can increase the track size vertically by dragging the track from the bottom. You see some dots visible in the silent parts, which are different kinds of noises. If you want to delete some parts in the audio, select it and press delete on the keyboard. To undo any change, press Command Z or Control Z. Deleting something from the timeline alters it. If I delete this piece of audio, everything after it comes forward in the timeline. Sometimes you may want to remove something but want to keep the timeline the same. You can do that from the Silence Audio Selection button. Those audios are gone, and the other audios are in their place as before. You can also do the opposite of that. Only keep the selected part and remove the remaining audio. Copy and paste of the audio works with standard shortcuts. Select the parts of the audio you want to copy, and press Command C or Control C if you are using Windows. Click to the point where you want to paste, and Command V. Undo the last action is Command Z. You can see these shortcuts from the Edit menu. Besides these copy-paste commands, there is another interesting command, Duplicate. Duplicate command duplicates an entire track, and you have to select the track. Otherwise, you will see a prompt asking you to select what to duplicate. You can either duplicate the whole track or parts of the track. I will select the entire track by double-clicking inside it and duplicate it using Command D. A new track has been added at the bottom. These two tracks are now at different heights. If I used Command-Shift-F, they would have equal heights. Control-Shift-F if you are using Windows. You can get this command in View, Track Size, and Fit to Height. If you have one track, it will take the full height. If you have multiple tracks, the height will be distributed equally. Like Fit to Height, there is another command, Fit to Width. Your track will fit in the width of the Audacity screen. The waveforms are now looking more condensed as all waveforms are on the screen. You can also do these things using the buttons. Zoom toggle alternates between very detailed zoom and condensed zoom. Fit to Width buttons are added here, and you can use these instead from the menu or shortcuts. You can zoom in or out in the waveform as much as you want. These help precise editing as the timeline gets bigger. You can also use the mouse scroll bar to zoom in or out while the cursor is inside the track. You can cross out any track using the cross icon. You can rename any track name to remind yourself what is in which track. This is useful when you are working with multiple tracks. You can move around the tracks inside the timeline. A hand icon appears when you place the cursor in the white area. You can drag the track to shift in the timeline. I will cross out this duplicate track and show some features from the top track. You can also rename this. It is basically a clip. A track can have a single clip or multiple clips. You can split a clip. To split a clip, go to a point from where you want to clip. Go to Edit, Audio Clips, and Split. At the splitting point, a bold vertical line appears. A new clip is now created, and I can move these clips around independently. The second clip has the same name as the first clip. I will rename it to Clip 2. I can create as many clips as I need, following the same process. Go to the point of split and split. It is possible to trim clips in Audacity. If you take your mouse pointer to the edges of the clip, the cursor will change to a trimming icon. The trimming icon with pointers on both ends should appear now, but it is not appearing for some reason. Aha! The icon has appeared now. You can trim the edges to make a clip shorter. You can trim spoken parts and expand to get those back. Audacity calls this feature non-destructive editing because the audio is there. Audacity developed this feature in version 3.1, but I am not sure if it is that useful. I want to hear from you if you find this non-destructive helpful. Split can also be done to a new track. However, it does not work the same way as split, where you just set a split point. Splitting to new tracks requires a selection of the audio which you want to take to the new track. I selected this part, and if I go to split new, I will get this audio to a new track. The audio I had selected moved to a new track. Just like other clips, I can move it around. If I want to discard some last changes in editing and go to a previous point, I can undo it multiple times to reach that point. Another way to do it is from history. You will get history from the View menu for the current session only. If you close Audacity and open the same file, a new session starts, and history will have records from the current session. An arrow will point at which action of editing you are currently. If some gray lines appear after the current action, that means those actions are undone by your undo command. I want to discard all my changes after duplicating the track. I will select duplicated action and click OK. I will close the duplicated track. If you want to rearrange different toolbars, you can do that. You can drag any toolbar and set it in a new position. You can expand the meters if you want to see the details of the readings. If you mess up the positioning of the toolbars, you can always reset it. From View, Toolbars, Reset Toolbars. Toolbars have some other toolbars that you can check to see if they are useful to you. Some people find the Cut-Paste toolbar handy. A new set of icons was added here, which is the Cut-Paste toolbar. You can now cut or copy any parts with the click of these buttons. Copy-paste of audio waveforms is similar to any document editor. Audacity also has a pair of undo and redo buttons. I prefer keyboard shortcuts for this type of action, but it is up to you which method you prefer. Audacity supports adding labels in different places of the recording. For example, you may want to add a note either here or in both places. Click on the place where you want to add a label. Go to Edit, Labels, and add Label at Selection. A new track will appear with a text input option. Write your note which may help you later in the editing process. You can add as many labels as you want. Label track is not related to the audio recording, so your sound will not be affected. Though you have to remember labels are not locked with the audio track, so deleting something from the track misplaces the labels. If I delete this selection, Issue 2 will point to a different place in the waveform. I hope Audacity implements some locking between labels and tracks so that they always remain in sync. That way labels will be much more useful. The workaround for this will be to select both the audio track and label track when deleting something from the audio track. If you select both the audio track and label tracks by dragging and then delete, the labels will be in sync. Adding a label every time from the menu can be tedious, and you can enable Type to create a label. Enabling this option will let you add labels by typing inside the label track. For example, if I want to add a label anywhere, I will click inside the label track and start typing. This label can be expanded to point to a range in the track. Drag the handles in the label, and you can adjust the selection. I will close this label track and show you some features of this track information panel. Let's duplicate this track by selecting everything and Command D. The solo button makes the current track active and mutes all other tracks. During playback, only the active tracks can be heard. Mute mutes the current track as we expect. After those two buttons, an effects button lets you add real-time effects. Built-in effects in Audacity cannot be used as real-time effects, only third-party effects. I will discuss this in the next section. Right-click inside the track information panel to see some track-related settings. You can see a spectrogram instead of the waveform. The spectrogram shows which audio frequency has how much energy. Though Audacity does not support that much good editing through a spectrogram. If you are using Audacity as an audio learning tool, the spectrogram might help. Otherwise, it is not much useful in terms of audio editing in Audacity. It is possible to see both waveform and spectrogram at the same time. You can also change the waveform color if you do not like the default blue. It is a cosmetic change and has no effects on the sound. If you prefer your waveform in another color, you can change it. I would prefer the default blue. A select button at the bottom selects the whole track. Double-clicking inside the track does the same job. The triangle before the select button is for collapsing the track. If multiple tracks are not fitting well or you want to focus on more than one track, you can collapse other tracks. A gain control slider can increase or decrease the volume of the audio. I will play and adjust, and you will hear the difference.
Audacity is the best free software for audio editing and recording. Though there are a couple of other softwares which is free, but Audacity is the easiest one to use.
The next slider is the pan slider, which adds a panning effect on the left or right side of the headphone.
Audacity is the best free software for audio editing and recording. Though there are a couple of other softwares which is free, but Audacity is the easiest one to use.
If you are using a headphone, you will understand what I mean. You can repeatedly listen to a part of the audio through the loop button.
Audacity is the best. Audacity is the best. Audacity is the best. Audacity is the best. Audacity is the best free software for audio editing and recording.
A marker appears on top of the timeline to denote the loop starting and ending. You can adjust loop selection by rearranging these markers.
Audacity is the best free software. Audacity is the best free software. Audacity is the best.
I will end this editing basics section by showing the frequency analysis tool. If you want to know which frequencies are making a sound, you can select it and go to the Analyze menu. Click on Plot Spectrum. A beautiful graph appears showing which frequency has how much energy. For basic audio editing, this may not be important. For those who want to dive deep into audio editing, it's a fantastic tool.